What's up guys, and welcome back to our YouTube channel once again. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I installed brakes on my mini bike. Here's my mini bike and I'm going to show you guys everything we did to it so we could install hydraulic brakes. This video that you're watching is probably the last video on this channel for a very long time. We're not quitting, but we're not sure if we're going to upload ever again because I'm going to be starting university next week. Today's August 27th and there's only a few days till university starts. So this is the last video that you're going to be seeing of this mini bike. Previously on this mini bike, I had different types of brakes, and there were those red mechanical brakes with the wire instead of the hydraulic hose. So this is a huge upgrade. I bought these brakes for 40 bucks on Amazon about 6 months ago, and I later installed them with my teacher at school because I didn't want to mess up these nice brakes. Here are the old brakes that I used previously. And the issue with these was that I didn't install the caliper properly because the brake mount I had was kind of bent up and it wasn't proper. So these things got damaged really quickly. The brake disc was rubbing on the inside of the caliper and it damaged everything. If you can see these bolt holes here, they got stripped out completely because they kept shaking because the caliper wasn't mounted properly, and that was my fault. So with the new brakes, I decided to ask my teacher for permission so I could bring it into the school workshop and have him help me install the brakes. So here's exactly what we did. Before we even did the brakes, we fixed up the front end. This is about 2-inch piping, and inside this, me and him welded bushing up here and a bushing in there that matched the axle bolt perfectly. We put some washers for spacers and we made this custom bolt by welding a big nut on top of the axle. So that's how we made the front end. So now let's go on to the brakes. Here are the brakes. So what we did was get a piece of angle iron. It's about 1/4 inch thick, so it's super durable. And we cut out the design. If you can see that the caliper has a curve on it, that's the design we cut up on this brake mount. If you can see, that's a lot better. So that's the design we cut out there with the angle grinder and sanded it down completely flush. And then we drilled holes based on the brake caliper. Then what we did was bolt the caliper onto this, and then we put the caliper onto the brake disc and we clamped the hose, so that way the brake would fit flush, perfectly aligned all by itself. We held this down by a couple of zip ties so this would align itself. And then what we did was tack weld it to the axle mounts in the back. This is the rear axle, all this, if you can see, goes through on this side. So we welded this piece of angle iron onto this rear axle mount. Then we got a piece of this steel. It's also 1/4 inch thick, and we welded it a lot up here, and my teacher welded it down there. That's why the welds down there are pretty nice compared to my welds, which are pretty terrible. So here's the other side of that metal rod. So that's all we had to do to install these brakes. The total process took about 2.5 to 3 hours because we also had to work on the front end. So that's what we did to install these brakes. These brakes work really well. And I'll show you what I mean exactly. Okay guys, watch this. Look at the rear tire. Look at these skid marks already. As you can see, these brakes work really well. They lock the tire up so nicely that I can go like 50 kilometers, 55, 60 kilometers down the street, and I'll be able to stop completely without worrying about anything. Another thing we did on this bike was fix up this exhaust. So if you guys see this exhaust in the back, the biggest issue with this exhaust was it was not connected to the frame. So it would shake around and vibrate, and it'd just make a lot of noise because it would shake so much. So what we did was my teacher gave me this round piece of metal, like it's just like some strapping, and we folded it this way, and he drilled a hole with a self-drilling bolt straight into the frame, which keeps the exhaust completely flush and it makes sure it doesn't move around. If you also notice, it also doesn't rub up with the frame because the piece of wire goes in the back, so it doesn't damage the paint on the bike at all. So guys, if you enjoyed this video of the mini bike back there, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, show it to your friends, and that'll be it from our channel for a very long time. So see you guys as soon as possible.